The desperate plea. The alien city lay in ruins, smoke rising from shattered towers. The air was thick with the smell of burning crystal and fear. Everywhere, creatures ran in panic, their glowing eyes wide with terror. In the midst of chaos, a small figure stumbled through the debris, cradling a child in her arms. Her body shook, and her voice trembled as she cried out to anyone who would listen. "Please, take me. Spare her. She is only 5. The alien mother begged, her voice cracking with desperation. The child clung to her, tears running down her tiny cheeks, her small hands grasping at her mother's armor. Explosions echoed in the distance, sending shards of crystal flying through the air. The mother fell to her knees, pressing the child to her chest, her voice rising to a scream. "I will give my life. Take me instead. Please, please, please." The chaos seemed endless, and no one answered. The enemy forces advanced, their black ships hovering above, scanning the streets. Laser fire lit the ruins, striking walls and ground with deadly precision. The alien mother shielded her child as best she could, moving with each blast. Her eyes searched desperately for help, but all she saw was destruction. Then, among the rubble, a figure appeared, moving calmly despite the chaos. It was a human, clad in simple armor, carrying no visible weapons, yet his presence cut through the fear. The aliens around him froze, staring at the stranger, unsure if he was friend or foe. The mother's eyes widened when she saw him, hope flickering like a weak flame. She raised her arms, pleading, "Help! Save her! You must!" The human stepped closer, his gaze fixed on the child. He did not speak, but his eyes showed understanding, concern, and courage. Every step he took seemed deliberate, as if he measured the danger, but refused to step back. The alien mother trembled, unsure if this human would risk himself for her child. The sounds of battle echoed louder, debris falling around them, yet he moved steadily. The enemy spotted him, beams of light cutting across the rubble toward his position. The human ducked and rolled, narrowly avoiding a blast. He reached the mother and child, kneeling beside them. The child's eyes widened, and she hid behind her mother, unsure if the human was a protector or another threat. The mother looked at him, desperation in her gaze, and whispered, You can save her. You must." Without hesitation, the human reached out, placing a steady hand on the mother's shoulder. His calmness seemed to anchor them, a small island of hope in the storm of destruction. He spoke softly, words they could not understand, but the tone carried reassurance. The mother nodded, her voice shaking as she handed her child to him. "Take her, please. I cannot. I will not survive this." The child looked up at him, eyes wide with fear and confusion. The human bent down, letting her see his face, a silent promise of protection in his calm gaze. She hesitated, then slowly allowed him to lift her, wrapping her small arms around his neck. The mother placed her hand on the human's arm, her eyes filling with tears. "Do not fail her. Please, you must not fail." The ground shook beneath them as another explosion rocked the street. The human stood, holding the child tightly, his eyes scanning the advancing enemy. He moved like a shadow, weaving through debris, dodging attacks, shielding the girl with his body. The mother followed, limping as best she could, keeping close. Every step was a gamble, every movement a test against death. The alien child clung to him, her trust absolute though she barely knew him. The human's focus never wavered, protecting her as if she were his own. The enemy fired relentlessly, but he moved with precision, instinct guiding him through danger. The mother stumbled, but he reached out, catching her before she fell. "Go. Stay close. We will survive together," he whispered, though the words were soft, filled with command, reassurance, and hope. As they ran, the city seemed to stretch endlessly, a maze of shattered towers and burning streets. Every corner brought new danger, but the human never faltered. His presence gave the aliens courage. His bravery ignited something inside the mother and child. They began to believe, Even in the heart of destruction, that survival was possible, that someone cared enough to risk everything for a life not his own. Finally, they reached a narrow alley that offered some cover. The mother fell to her knees, gasping for breath, and the child clung to her tightly. The human knelt beside them, scanning the skies and streets. His eyes were steady, unflinching, filled with determination. In that moment, the mother realized that hope had returned, fragile yet real. She whispered a prayer, not knowing if it would be heard. Her child was alive, safe in the hands of someone who could be humanity itself. And though the battle raged on around them, she knew one truth. A human had intervened, and for the first time, survival felt possible. The human's choice. The city lay in chaos, smoke curling into the sky, fires burning across shattered streets. The alien mother clutched her child tightly, trembling, while the human stood before them, scanning the ruined landscape. Every instinct screamed danger, yet his eyes were calm, assessing, calculating, and filled with determination. He had seen destruction before, but this was different. This child was innocent, and her life hung by a thread. The human's mind raced, weighing every possibility. If he stayed, he could be killed instantly, torn apart by enemy fire. If he moved, there was no guarantee he could protect the child. Yet something inside him refused to step back, refused to let fear dictate his actions. It was a spark, a small voice telling him that doing nothing was worse than dying. The alien mother's voice broke through his thoughts, trembling but urgent. "Please, you must save her. She is only 5. I will give my life." Her eyes glistened with tears, desperation written across every line of her glowing face. The child looked up at him, small hands clutching her mother's arm, her eyes wide with fear and confusion. The human knelt before them, gently lifting the child into his arms, feeling her tiny heartbeat against his chest. Every step forward was a test, each movement deliberate. The enemy forces were closing in, black ships gliding above, scanning for life. Laser beams struck the ground around them, shattering crystal fragments into the air. He moved like a shadow, weaving through the ruins, keeping the child close, shielding her from harm. The mother stumbled beside him, weak from fear and exhaustion, but he caught her before she fell, guiding her along. The human's thoughts flickered to his own people, his own past. Would they have made this choice? Would anyone risk themselves for a stranger, a life not their own? He shook his head slightly, banishing doubts. Right now, there was no past, no future, only this moment. And one choice. Protect the child, no matter the cost. The child whimpered softly, sensing the tension. The human whispered reassuringly, "You're safe. I won't let anything happen to you." She clung to him, fear mingled with a fragile trust. The mother's hand rested lightly on his arm, trembling. "Do not fail her. She is all I have left," she murmured. The human nodded silently, determination hardening in his eyes. The streets ahead were filled with danger, debris and fire forming an obstacle course of death. The enemy had sent smaller patrols of flying drones, scanning every corner. He ducked behind a fallen tower as a beam of light passed overhead, the hum of their engines filling the air. Then, like a shadow, he darted across the open street. The child pressed against his chest. Every step was calculated, yet fast, fluid, as if instinct guided him more than thought. The mother followed, fear etched on her face, but hope flickering. The human led them to a narrow alley, the walls cracked and glowing faintly from residual energy. For a moment, they paused, catching their breath. The human looked at them both, scanning every exit. He had to make a decision, not only about where to go, but how far he would risk himself. Above them, enemy drones hovered, scanning for life signs. A beam of light struck nearby, sending shards of crystal scattering. The human pushed the child behind him, shielding her body. Feeling the heat of the blast, the mother gasped, fear gripping her chest. He looked at her, and in a quiet but firm voice said, "I can protect her, but I can't do it alone. We must move now." The mother nodded, trembling, knowing that her life might end in the next moments. The child's small hands clutched him tighter, her trust absolute. With each step, the human's presence seemed to change something around them. Other aliens who had been cowering in the rubble began to follow, inspired by his courage. His actions sparked hope in hearts that had only known fear. They moved together through the ruined streets, dodging falling debris. A large piece of a tower blocked their path, and the human lifted the child over it, careful not to hurt her. Then he extended his hand to the mother, helping her over. Even in the middle of chaos, he remained calm, precise, and unwavering. His focus was absolute, his choice clear. The enemy noticed the group moving and adjusted their patrols. Lasers cut dangerously close, fragments scattering around them, but the human did not falter, weaving through danger with the child secure in his arms. The mother followed as best she could, glancing at him, hope and fear battling in her eyes. She whispered, I can't believe anyone would risk so much." He only shook his head slightly, replying quietly, "It's the right thing to do." Time seemed to stretch, each second filled with danger and suspense. The city around them burned and crumbled, but they pressed on, guided by the human's steady hand. Finally, they reached a small side passage that offered some cover, a momentary shelter from the enemy. The child clung to him, eyes wide, unsure whether to speak. The mother collapsed against the wall, exhausted, tears streaming down her face. The human knelt beside them, breathing heavily, his arms still tight around the child. In that moment, he made the choice clear. He would not abandon them, no matter the cost. He would risk everything, face every danger, and stand between the child and death itself. Because in that moment, courage was as more than instinct. It was a promise that humanity, even in the face of impossible odds, would not turn away from the innocent. And as the black ships loomed closer, their lights cutting through the smoke, the human's eyes hardened with determination. He had made his choice, and nothing, not fear, not death, not despair, would stop him from keeping it. Shield of sacrifice. The air was thick with smoke and heat, the ruins of the alien city glowing with fires that refused to die. The human moved steadily through the streets, the child clutched tightly in his arms, her small body trembling against him. The alien mother followed as best she could, her energy waning, her fear growing with every step. Every corner seemed alive with danger, black ships hovering above, scanning, searching for any sign of life. Explosions shattered the streets, sending shards of crystal flying, and yet the human did not falter. Ahead, a squad of enemy drones emerged, their mechanical wings slicing through the air, laser weapons charging with deadly precision. The human froze for a heartbeat, calculating the risk, his grip on the child tightening. Then, without hesitation, he stepped forward, positioning himself between the drones and the child. Beams of light struck the ground around him, shattering stone and crystal. He ducked, rolled, and raised his arm, deflecting a blast with a piece of fallen debris, protecting the girl from harm. The mother cried out, her voice a mix of fear and awe. You can't survive this. Let her go." But the human shook his head, determination blazing in his eyes. "I won't leave her. Not now. Not ever," he said softly, his voice carrying strength beyond fear. The child clung to him, her small hands gripping his armor, her wide eyes locked on his face. She did not speak, but in that silent gaze, she placed all her trust in him. The drones advanced, circling, firing with deadly intent. The human ran through the streets, weaving between fallen towers, dodging lasers, his movements precise, instinctual. He threw himself forward, using his body as a shield whenever a beam came too close. The child gasped as shards of crystal flew past them. The mother stumbled but was caught by another survivor, a young alien had been hiding in the shadows. As they moved, the human spotted a partially collapsed building ahead. It offered cover, a chance to plan the next move. He sprinted toward it, diving behind a broken wall just as a laser struck the spot where they had been standing moments before. The child pressed her face into his chest, whispering softly, You saved me." He smiled briefly, though his body was tense. "It's not over. Stay close. We must move again," he whispered. From the shadows, another group of enemy drones appeared, larger and faster than before. The human realized there was no path forward without facing them directly. He scanned the street, spotting a fallen alien weapon nearby, its strange glow illuminating the cracks in the stone. Grabbing it, he studied it quickly, understanding its basic functions instinctively. He aimed, firing at the drones, beams of energy striking them, causing sparks and destruction. The child's eyes widened, a mixture of fear and awe, as she realized the human was fighting not only to save her, but to destroy the threat. The alien mother watched, tears streaming down her glowing face. "I never imagined anyone would fight like this for her," she whispered. The human did not answer, focusing on the incoming attack, every movement precise, every decision critical. One drone lunged toward them, its claws extended, laser charging. He threw himself in front of the child, deflecting the strike with his arm, pain searing through his body. But he did not falter, protecting the girl with every ounce of strength he had. The battle intensified, debris flying, fire exploding, and the human continued his relentless defense. Other aliens who had been hiding now joined, inspired by his courage. They fired weapons they barely understood, their aim unsteady. Yet the human guided them, pointing, giving instructions without words. Together, they began to push back the enemy, step by step, building a fragile line of defense. The mother joined as best she could, lifting fallen debris, helping the injured, her eyes never leaving the human. The child clung to him, whispering questions about safety and fear. He reassured her, though every word was filled with tension. "Stay behind me. Don't move. Trust me," he said. The child nodded, her tiny body shaking, but trust unwavering. Suddenly, a larger drone descended from above, faster, more powerful than the others. Its laser cannon charged with bright energy, threatening to incinerate everything in its path. The human ducked and rolled, calculating the timing perfectly. As the blast struck near him, he grabbed the child tightly, shielding her with his body. Pain shot through his arm as debris struck him, but he gritted his teeth and pressed on. Other aliens watched in awe as the human demonstrated something beyond their understanding: courage, sacrifice, the willingness to risk everything for life, for the innocent. The child looked up at him, her wide eyes filled with wonder. He smiled briefly, whispering, "We will make it. Just a little further. Trust me." The black ships above adjusted, sensing the human's skill and determination. The drones fired relentlessly, but the human's presence inspired others to fight with bravery they did not know they had. Step by step, they began to clear a path, moving toward a partially intact tower that offered shelter. The human carried the child, deflecting attacks, throwing himself in front of danger at every turn. The mother followed, helping where she could, her faith in him growing with every heartbeat. Finally, they reached the tower, collapsing inside, gasping for breath, wounds burning, bodies aching. The human knelt, placing the child down safely, ensuring she was unharmed. The mother dropped beside her, daughter, tears streaming freely. You risked everything for her," she whispered. The human looked at her, voice steady despite pain. "I did what I had to. No choice. Only what is right," he said. For a brief moment, silence fell over the ruined city, the smoke curling above them. Even the enemy seemed to pause, as if acknowledging his courage. The mother embraced her child, whispering prayers of gratitude. The child clung to her, still wide-eyed, but beginning to understand that hope could exist even in darkness. The human rose, scanning the horizon, ready to continue the fight. Because in the heart of destruction, one thing had become clear: courage, sacrifice, and humanity could shine brighter than any weapon, and the human would stand as a shield, a protector, a force that could not be ignored. The unexpected ally. The human stood at the edge of the ruined street, the alien child in his arms, her small body trembling from fear and exhaustion. The alien mother followed closely, her glowing eyes scanning every shadow, every corner for danger. The city around them was a maze of debris and fire, towers half collapsed, streets cracked and glowing from explosions. Yet despite the chaos, there was a strange silence in some areas, as if the city itself was holding its breath. From the shadows, a faint sound emerged, almost like a whisper. The human paused, eyes narrowing, scanning for movement. The alien mother tensed, gripping her child tightly. "Stay behind me," he whispered, voice low but steady. They moved cautiously toward the sound, every step measured, every breath controlled. Then, from the darkness, a figure appeared, cloaked in shadows. Its presence was unfamiliar, neither human nor like the aliens they knew. The child whimpered, hiding her face against the human's chest. The mother stepped forward slightly, her voice trembling. Who are you?" The figure did not answer immediately, instead studying them with glowing eyes. The human held the child protectively, his own eyes wary but calm. Finally, the shadow spoke, its voice low and resonant. "I have been watching. I know why you fight. I can help." The human tilted his head, cautious. "Why should we trust you?" he asked, his tone firm, protective. The figure stepped closer, revealing a form that shimmered like liquid metal, shifting in shape. "I am a guardian of this city, unseen until now. You have proven your courage. I will fight with you," it said. The alien mother gasped, relief and awe mixing in her voice. You will help us?" The figure nodded slowly, its form flickering in the firelight. The human considered the offer, scanning the streets for incoming drones. He could not afford hesitation. Yet the trust was difficult, but instinct told him that any ally here, especially one willing to risk themselves, could tip the balance. No sooner had they decided than the sound of engines and lasers filled the air. The enemy drones had regrouped, larger and more aggressive than before. The human's grip on the child tightened, muscles coiling for action. The mother stood beside him, her fear giving way to determination. The child clung to him, eyes wide, but beginning to sense hope. The shadow guardian moved forward with a fluid grace, intercepting the first wave of drones. Its limbs extended, energy beams firing in precise arcs, dismantling enemy machines with ease. The human watched, understanding that this ally was extraordinary, beyond anything he had imagined. Yet the human did not falter, knowing that the child's safety depended on him. He led the way through the streets, using the guardian's abilities strategically. The alien mother followed, carrying supplies and helping injured civilians they passed. Every corner revealed new dangers, but the presence of the guardian inspired courage in all. The enemy adjusted, sensing that their opponent had become more formidable. They fired relentlessly, yet the human moved with the guardian, dodging beams, shielding the child, and inspiring others. At one point, a massive drone swooped down, its claws aiming directly for the human. He threw himself in front of the child, letting the guardian engage the machine. Beams of energy collided in a dazzling display, sparks flying, metal twisting, explosions shaking the ground. The child gasped in awe. The mother held her close, whispering encouragement. "You can do this. We trust you." The human leapt forward, rolling under the drone, striking it with precision. The guardian mirrored his movements, covering his back, dismantling the drone with a single strike. Together, they moved like a single force, coordinated and unstoppable. The enemy forces faltered, unsure how to handle this new alliance. The human's courage and the guardian's power became a symbol, sparking hope in aliens who had only known fear. The mother whispered to the child, "See. They will not let harm come to you." The child nodded slowly, her tiny hands gripping her mother's robe. The human glanced at them, eyes scanning for the next threat. "I will not let them take you. Not today. Not ever," he said. The guardian shifted, its voice calm but powerful. "Move forward. We have a path to safety." Together, they navigated through shattered alleys, avoiding patrols, rescuing injured civilians along the way. The human's presence inspired bravery. The Guardian's power ensured their survival. The mother found herself trusting him completely, knowing that his courage had saved her child more than once. The child's tears dried, replaced with awe and curiosity. Even in chaos, she began to understand that humans could be protectors, heroes, and more than anyone expected. Suddenly, a massive shadow fell over them, a ship larger than any they had seen descending from the sky. The enemy leader had arrived, more powerful and terrifying than the drones before. The human's heart pounded, yet he did not flinch. The Guardian stepped forward, protective and unwavering. The mother hugged her child tightly, whispering prayers for survival, and the child, though scared, felt the strength of the human and the Guardian beside her. The human knew this was the true test, the moment where courage, trust, and sacrifice would collide. He had made his choice to protect, and now he had allies, yet the danger had never been greater. Every step forward would be a battle, every breath a risk, but he would not let fear dictate the future of this child or her mother. As the massive ship's engines roared, the human tightened his grip on the child. The Guardian shimmered beside him, ready for action. The mother whispered softly, "Thank you for standing with us." He looked at her briefly, voice firm. "We survive together." And in that moment, hope flickered brightly. The unexpected ally had arrived, and the battle for survival had just become a fight worth winning. Confrontation. The massive ship hovered above the city, its dark silhouette blotting out the glowing sky. Laser beams streaked across the streets below, illuminating the ruins in flashes of red and blue. The human gripped the child tightly, her small body trembling against him. The alien mother followed closely, her glowing eyes scanning every corner, every shadow. Even the unexpected Guardian tensed, its form shifting as it prepared for the imminent battle. The enemy leader had arrived, a figure larger than any they had faced. Its presence radiated power, commanding fear even among its own troops. The drones scattered, regrouping at a distance, as if awaiting orders. The human's jaw tightened, a silent promise forming in his mind. He would not allow this child to fall, not when hope had survived this long. "Stay behind me," he whispered to the child, his voice calm but firm. The child clung tightly, her eyes wide but trusting. The mother's hands trembled as she clutched at his arm. "Be careful, please," she begged, fear and hope mixing in her voice. He nodded, scanning the streets for a path to engage. The enemy leader descended, landing with a thunderous roar, shaking the cracked streets. Its armor gleamed with strange energy, and its glowing eyes locked onto them. The human stepped forward, placing himself between the leader and the child. The Guardian moved beside him, its form shimmering and ready. The mother stayed behind, her body tense, ready to act if needed. The leader spoke, its voice deep and echoing. "You cannot protect her. You are only human." The human's gaze did not waver, voice steady. "I will protect her, no matter what it takes." The leader laughed, a sound that shook the surrounding rubble. "You are weak, fragile. Your courage is meaningless," it sneered. But the human only tightened his grip on the child, determination blazing in his eyes. "Just..." Suddenly the leader struck, energy beams shooting toward them. The human rolled to the side, shielding the child. The Guardian leapt forward, intercepting the beams, sending sparks and fire flying. The streets shook, debris falling all around. The mother gasped, fear gripping her heart, but she stayed close to the child, praying silently. The human darted forward, using fallen debris for cover. He glanced at the Guardian, signaling a plan without words. The Guardian understood instantly, moving to flank the enemy. Together, they created a diversion, drawing the leader's attention away from the child. The child whimpered, but he whispered softly, "You're safe. Trust me." The enemy leader roared, swinging a massive arm toward them. The human rolled beneath it, feeling the heat of energy as it passed overhead. He leapt onto a fallen pillar, striking with precise force. The Guardian mirrored his movements, its attacks synchronized perfectly. Even the mother found courage, throwing debris to distract smaller drones. Every movement, every decision was a gamble, yet the human led with instinct and heart. The leader unleashed a wave of energy, striking the street with tremendous force. The human shielded the child with his body, feeling pain sear through his chest. He gritted his teeth, refusing to falter. The child clung tighter, whispering, "Don't let them hurt me." He looked down, voice steady despite agony. "I won't. Not now. Not ever." The battle raged, the city around them shaking with each strike. The Guardian moved with fluid grace, dismantling enemy drones with energy beams. The human engaged the leader directly, dodging attacks, striking when possible. Every move calculated, every second a test of endurance. The alien mother stayed close, helping wherever she could, saving civilians, moving with fear and courage intertwined. A sudden strike sent the human crashing into rubble, the child slipping slightly from his arms. He caught her instantly, shielding her with his body, the pain in his arm sharp and burning. The leader loomed over him, ready to finish the attack. The Guardian leapt between them, energy clashing, sparks flying in a dazzling display. The human seized the moment, striking at a weak point in the leader's armor. The enemy roared, staggering back, momentarily stunned. The human rose slowly, keeping the child safe, his eyes locked on the leader. He knew he could not falter now, could not allow fear to control him. This confrontation was more than survival. It was a statement, a proof of humanity's courage and heart. The mother whispered prayers, tears streaming down her face. The child's small hands clutched his armor, trusting completely. The Guardian continued to fight, its form shimmering, blocking attacks, giving them precious moments to regroup. The human caught his breath, calculating his next move. He needed to end this quickly, before more drones arrived, before the city was destroyed completely. The enemy leader, enraged, prepared a final attack, its energy glowing brighter than before. The human braced, holding the child close. The Guardian shifted beside him, ready to act at a moment's notice. The mother whispered softly, "Please, protect her." He nodded, voice firm, "I will, no matter the cost." In that moment, the city seemed to hold its breath, the smoke swirling. Fires flickering, the final confrontation had arrived, testing courage, heart, and sacrifice. The human knew there was no turning back. He had chosen to protect, to fight, and to stand between life and death. And in that choice, he became more than human. He became a shield, a protector, a hero. The battle was far from over, but the first victory had been won. The enemy leader had been slowed. The child remained safe. And in the heart of chaos, a single truth remained clear. Courage, sacrifice, and humanity could change the fate of even the galaxy. The turnaround. The alien city trembled beneath the roar of engines and explosions. The massive enemy ship above rumbled like a living beast, its dark silhouette blotting out the flickering sky. The human stood firm, the child still pressed to his chest, her small hands clutching at his armor. The alien mother hovered close, fear and hope warring in her glowing eyes. The Guardian shifted beside him, shimmering, ready to act at a moment's notice. The enemy leader had recovered from the earlier strike, its glowing eyes blazing with fury. Its energy pulses shot across the streets, tearing through rubble, striking randomly. The human's jaw tightened, muscles coiling as he scanned the battlefield for an opportunity. He knew brute force alone would not win this fight. Every instinct, every lesson, every ounce of training told him he had to think, to strategize. He glanced at the child, her wide eyes filled with trust. She had placed her life entirely in his hands. The mother whispered, "Be careful. They are more powerful than anything we have faced." He nodded, voice low, "I have a plan, but it will be dangerous." The Guardian tilted its form, its energy pulses syncing with his thoughts, as if it understood instinctively. The human scanned the surrounding debris, noting weak points in the ruined buildings and the enemy's armor. Then he saw it. a cluster of energy conduits from the alien power grid, partially exposed. If he could reach it, he might trigger a chain reaction that would destabilize the enemy ship's energy field. It was risky, almost certain death if he failed, but it was the only chance. He took a deep breath, pressing the child closer, whispering, "Stay close. Trust me." The guardian moved beside him, ready to shield against the enemy's attacks. The mother clenched her hands, fear etching her glowing face, but she stayed close, unwilling to abandon her child. The human darted forward, rolling beneath a blast that tore a hole in the street. Sparks flew around him, shards of crystal slicing the air. The guardian intercepted a smaller drone, smashing it with a flash of energy. The enemy leader roared, swinging a massive arm toward him. He rolled under it, barely avoiding the strike, and pushed forward toward the energy conduits. The child whimpered, but he murmured reassurance. "It will be all right. I will protect you." The mother whispered prayers, eyes wide as she watched him navigate the deadly path. Lasers and energy beams struck near them, yet the human moved with precision, guided by instinct and courage. He reached the first conduit, placing his hand on the exposed wires. Energy surged, and sparks flew, lighting the ruined street in a harsh glow. The enemy leader charged, its roar deafening. The human focused, rerouting the energy through the conduit, aiming at the ship above. A pulse shot upward, striking the massive vessel, causing tremors that shook the ground. The guardian leapt, deflecting incoming attacks, its shimmering form dazzling. The mother shielded the child, her hands glowing faintly, trying to block stray energy bursts. The enemy leader faltered, staggering as the pulse disrupted its energy field. Smaller drones lost control, spinning and crashing into buildings, explosions lighting the ruins. The human pressed the sequence further, rerouting additional conduits. Sparks and energy arcs surrounded him, yet he moved swiftly, calculating, precise. The child watched, eyes wide with awe, beginning to understand the human's ingenuity. The mother gasped, realizing that this human was not just brave, but clever beyond imagination. Finally, the last conduit was reached, exposed and dangerous. The human adjusted the wiring, taking a deep breath, knowing failure would mean certain death. The enemy leader roared, swinging its massive limbs, laser beams striking the street. The human dodged, energy sparking beneath his feet, and completed the connection. A massive pulse shot upward, connecting with the enemy ship. Explosions rocked the city, the ground trembling violently. The enemy leader screamed, staggering as its armor overloaded, energy arcs tearing through its body. The guardian moved swiftly, striking the remaining drones, sending them crashing into the ruins. The human pressed on, keeping the child safe, directing the pulse toward the ship's main energy core. The ship shuddered, lights flickering, systems failing. The mother watched in disbelief, tears streaming. "Impossible. How can one human?" she whispered, awe and fear mingling. The pulse intensified, reaching the ship's core. Energy erupted, sending shockwaves across the city. The enemy leader crashed to the ground, weakened but not defeated. The human turned, eyes blazing with determination, gripping the child tightly. The guardian positioned itself to block attacks, energy arcs shimmering. The mother moved to help, lifting rubble to shield the child. Every moment a battle against fear and death. The ship began to break apart, its massive engines failing, pieces tumbling toward the streets. The enemy forces scrambled, drones spinning out of control, unable to fight back. The humans seized the opportunity, leading the child and mother through a path of collapsing debris. The guardian cleared the way, smashing obstacles, energy blazing. The child clung tightly, eyes wide, whispering, "You saved us." He smiled briefly, exhaustion and relief mingling. "It's not over yet. Keep moving. We survived together," he said. The enemy leader struggled to rise, but its power was broken. The pulse had done its work, destabilizing its energy and sending the remaining forces into disarray. The mother hugged her child tightly, tears streaming freely. The guardian shimmered beside them, a protective sentinel. The human took a moment, catching his breath, scanning the horizon. The city was still dangerous, but hope now pulsed in their hearts. For the first time, the mother realized something profound. This human had faced impossible odds, used courage, skill, and intelligence to turn the tide. He had chosen to protect, to fight, and to save lives that were not his own, and in doing so, he had changed everything. Even the child, terrified moments ago, now whispered softly, You are our hero." The human nodded, voice low but steady. "Heroes are not born. They are made by choices. And today, I chose to protect you." The city shook, smoke rising, but the battle had shifted. The enemy forces were weakened, disorganized. The mother, child, and human knew survival was within reach, and that the courage of one human could inspire hope for an entire species. The unbelievable aftermath. The city lay in silence, broken only by the crackle of fires and the distant hum of collapsing energy. The massive enemy ship had been defeated, its pieces scattered across the skies like shattered stars. The human stood among the ruins, still holding the alien child, her small hands clutching his armor tightly. The alien mother knelt beside them, tears streaming freely, her glowing eyes reflecting a mixture of relief, awe, and exhaustion. The guardian hovered nearby, its shimmering form pulsing gently as it assessed the aftermath. For the first time in hours, there was no immediate threat, no laser fire, no explosions. The human lowered himself to the ground, exhaustion overtaking his muscles. The child looked up at him, her wide eyes filled with wonder and disbelief. You really saved us," she whispered, her voice trembling but filled with hope. He smiled faintly, voice soft. "We saved each other. Courage is stronger when we face it together." The mother placed her hands on his shoulders, her voice breaking. "I cannot thank you enough. You risked everything for my daughter. For us." He shook his head, exhaustion mingling with relief. "No, this was the right thing to do. Anyone would have acted the same. Anyone with a heart," he said. The guardian shifted beside them, its voice resonating softly. "Few humans possess such resolve. You have proven your species worthy of respect." The ruins around them seemed quieter now. Though they were scarred and broken, survivors began to emerge from hiding, their faces filled with awe and gratitude. The human watched as aliens helped one another, lifting debris, tending to wounds, and comforting the frightened. It was chaos transformed into cooperation, fear replaced by hope. The child clung to him, and he felt the weight of responsibility. Yet in that moment, he also felt the reward of courage and selflessness. Above them, the sky began to clear, the smoke lifting slowly, revealing stars that had not been visible in hours. The mother whispered prayers of gratitude, glancing at the child with relief. "You are safe now. Safe because of him." The child nodded, tears still in her eyes, but a smile forming. The human crouched, speaking gently to her. "You are brave. Never forget that. The galaxy will remember your courage too." The guardian floated nearby, its form pulsating with soft light. It surveyed the city and the survivors, then turned to the human. "You have altered the course of this conflict. Your choices have saved countless lives," it said. He nodded humbly, still catching his breath. "It is not about me. It is about protecting those who cannot protect themselves," he replied. The alien mother looked at him with gratitude that words could not express. "You are more than a human. You are our protector, our shield, our hope," she said. He shook his head slightly, a faint smile on his face. "No one is alone if we choose to stand together. That is the lesson today." The child hugged him tightly, and he held her close, feeling the fragile life he had fought so hard to protect. Around them, the city began to stir with life again. Survivors helping each other, fires being controlled, wounded being treated. The human glanced at the ruins. The destruction massive, yet something extraordinary had emerged from it. Hope, courage, and unity had grown from the ashes. The Guardian watched silently, as if acknowledging the human's achievement. The alien mother knelt beside her daughter, whispering words of reassurance and love. Then, a distant sound caught their attention, a signal from Allied forces approaching. Reinforcements had arrived, alerted by the pulse the human had triggered. Ships descended slowly, scanning the ruins, offering safety and relief to those who had survived. The human breathed a sigh of relief, knowing that help had finally arrived. The child looked up at him, wide-eyed, whispering, You really did it. You saved everyone." He smiled softly, brushing her hair back gently. "It was not just me. Courage and hope can come from anyone willing to act." The mother nodded, tears streaking her face. "You are a legend. You have given life where there was only fear. The galaxy will speak of this day." The Guardian shimmered, its form fading slowly as its mission here was complete. "You have proven that courage and morality can transcend species." "Humanity is remarkable," it said, as the sun rose over the ruins, casting golden light across the broken city. The human stood with the child and mother, watching the survivors emerge and rebuild. Every life saved, every act of bravery, became a testament to the strength of hope and compassion. The child hugged him tightly one last time, her small voice soft. "I will never forget you. Ever." He nodded, voice gentle. "And I will never forget you. Never forget what we fought for." The alien mother knelt, her hands resting on the child's shoulders. "You showed us that courage is more powerful than fear, and love is stronger than any weapon," she said. The human smiled faintly, looking at the horizon. "It is always worth fighting for the innocent, always worth standing up when it matters most." For the first time in days, the city was quiet, not with fear, but with possibility. The child held her mother's hand, looking at the human with admiration and gratitude. The alien mother whispered softly, "You have changed our lives forever. The galaxy will speak of your courage." He looked at them both, a sense of peace settling over him. Courage is never wasted. Hope is never lost. And together, we can survive anything, he said, as reinforcements helped evacuate the survivors. The human took one last look at the ruins, the scars of battle etched across the city. He knew that even in destruction, heroism, compassion, and bravery could create something less. Ting, the child looked up at him one final time, smiling. The mother hugged him tightly, whispering words of gratitude that carried across the ruins. And in that moment, the galaxy seemed to pause, acknowledging the courage of one human. The story of that day, of courage, sacrifice, and hope, would be told across worlds. The child would grow knowing that someone had risked everything to protect her. The mother would remember the bravery that had saved her daughter. And the human, standing amidst the aftermath, knew that even in the darkest times, one act of courage could change everything. One choice could inspire hope across a galaxy, and the legacy of that day would never be forgotten.